All right, today we're going to jump back into the Bitcoin price action, take a little bit more time to discuss the levels in which we got to. Is it bullish? Is it now bearish? What do we expect to happen next? But before we do jump into this price action, I want to quickly mention that the Crypto Eagles VIP, my new premium Discord that I have, has a sale that's coming to an end. This has been 50% off for the first month through the month of August. So if you want to get a lot of valuable information for just 20 bucks, go ahead in that description, use code EAGLE to sign up, read more about it. It's pretty cool stuff. You can talk to me one-on-one about anything trading related. It's specifically for leveraged trading, by the way. But yeah, I just had to mention it because that sale is about to end. Don't want to talk about it for any longer. Let's get into this video. I know I said a pullback was likely not going to happen if Bitcoin was truly impulsive, but as soon as we started breaking structure, that was a warning sign that we probably were going to sweep some levels to the downside. I even said in yesterday's video, good chance if we come down here, we could be sweeping all of these lows within here. And that is in fact exactly what happened. I know yesterday's video was a little bit rushed because I was kind of waiting to see if price action was going to play out. Tried to record some of it after we had fallen a little bit more, kind of during a falling knife, so wasn't able to really put together the data and give you guys good info on it at the time. Was kind of just observing it, being like, wow, that's a pretty sharp drop we're getting right now. But now that we have kind of settled out here on price, I think there's a little bit more data on what we should be looking for in the coming days and weeks to come here on Bitcoin, and what we need to happen in order for us not to sweep down lower, like below $50,000. And simply the big level to be watching for is this point of control. This is at 59,500. You can see we also have a little bit of a point of control below here as well, kind of right where price is sitting right now. We want to hold, and structurally this does look pretty good for a low coming in, right? We got a little bit of a sweep on hourly bull divs, 3 drives of an hourly bull div in fact. So that is very nice to see there. The higher lows on our side, lower lows on price, of course. We can also jump out here to the higher term time frames. You see the 4-hour higher lows on price, lower lows on our side. That's a hidden bull div, so that's really nice to see in there. And then we jump out to the daily time frame. We talked about these vectors getting retraced back into. We have gone lower than the vectors, but we've created more vectors to the upside, so it's likely this gets retraced into now. So likely going to see a bounce up, even in the worst case scenario. Like if we are bearish, probably going to retrace some of this, and if we are going to retrace some of it, we're going to be getting above volume. So I would say pretty comfy hold right now, because we're probably going to get above volume, and then at that point we can see, is this going to flip back into support? And if it can flip back into support, we're looking really good for a potential move to all-time highs, right? That's still my base case. I'm not really too concerned about this drop or anything like that. A lot of longs just got flushed out of the market. This was all open interest decreasing over here on Trading Light. We jump out here and we can see that, open interest has been massively flushed within this range. So that's really good to see. This isn't a lot of strong selling pressure, just a big long liquidation, especially this last candle in here. A lot of longs flushed out of the market. Not the worst thing to see. Let me actually turn on some of these indicators, such as the TPO profile, and we can see these single prints to the upside, right, where those vectors were made on the daily time frame. This is where you're looking to get retraced into. So I would say at a minimum, you're looking to get up into these single prints. That's at around $61,000 at the top side. And if we get up to $61,000, you're going to be getting up to this point of control. So these are your 2 levels to watch, in my opinion, right? These 2 points of control, because this is likely to get accepted back into, likely going to come up here. Let's see if this rejects. If it does reject, we want to find support here. And this right here could actually be a pretty good trade setup, right? If we're pulling swing low, swing high, we get some wick through that point of control at the top side, something like that. You can be coming back in for a nice golden pocket retest. This is just, some planning on what price action could do. Is it going to play out like this right here? I mean, it might. It's a good chance, but of course, it's all just probabilities. Nothing is guaranteed on the charts, and that's something I always try to emphasize in my videos. Like, we can never predict what's going to happen. Even if we think, okay, this is probably going to be an impulsive move, or, probably escaping the range here, we could have some unforeseen candles nuke us down, especially because we did have actually a structural edge up here for kind of a short. We talked about the swing failure pattern. We talked about some of this stuff that was looking a little bit eerie. And yeah, of course, the bearish case just plays out sometimes. So that's what happened here. But is it long-term bearish? Not really, in my opinion. I think, I'm still on the side of we're going to all-time highs. This is likely the bottom in here. I do think the lows probably in, but I will say I'm not really super confident on that. I'm not going to say that's a guarantee, because these lows aren't the best in here. All of this stuff could get swept for sure. That's not out of the equation at all. Even this could get swept. I talked about below $50,000. Yes, we could see all the way down here, and this could be another fake out where we go, oh, everyone's freaking out, and then whoop, right back up to the top, and then we could have an explosive move after that. So a lot of possibilities here on the chart, especially if we can't get above these volume levels. Maybe we leave this imbalance, for later, right? We just leave this imbalance untested, come sweep, and then boom, we have a massive impulsive move through all that stuff later on. Definitely something to consider, but overall, like I just said, I think we're probably just going to find support within here. But a lot of that will depend, in my opinion, on what kind of like the S&P does, what the Russell does. We go over here to the S&P. We see this has fallen down under some of our value as well. So we'll see if this can actually just be a sweep of this stuff. We can get back above and head for all-time highs, or if the S&P is going to have a bigger pullback within here. So we'll see. We got this golden pocket down here lower with a lot of volume confluence. So this is a potential level we could be seeing on the S&P 500. It wouldn't be too surprising to see something like this play out, and if we did, yeah, we probably do get that sweep of 50k on Bitcoin. We jump over here to the Russell and we see, still continuing to just fall after rejecting that point of control, but we are coming into the value area low, and this is a big level I do expect to find support. Probably going to bounce off that, and this is where we could see the continuation up to potentially all-time highs on the Russell, which would be very, very good for crypto altcoins specifically. Risk on assets are going to be more correlated with the Russell. I will say though, in the worst case scenario, right, this still could just be a bearish retracement, right? We could fail this. We could actually go into the bear market. Same with the S&P. Like there's a potential this all fails and we enter the bear market and this fails. Like the top's already in for Bitcoin. It's game over, right? None of that is impossible, right? This doesn't necessarily have to get grabbed. It's just if we're looking at the TA, if we're going off technical analysis, you would expect all-time highs to get grabbed, right? Bitcoin acts on a liquidity basis, and you can see here, all of that liquidity is sitting up at all-time highs. It's not actually refreshing 50k for some reason, but you'll see that there's really no liquidity below us now that we have swept 50k. You can see here, it makes a lot of sense to go actually hunt up at these highs since everything to the downside is really grabbed. You can see there is a little bit though down here. If we go, let's say 3-month time frame, might get a better view with that. We certainly do have a little bit below us, right? We could see another sweep of the sweep sort of deal coming in here, right? Something like this wouldn't be too surprising, anything like that. Shorter term time frame stuff, kind of difficult to gauge, just because the low looks structurally very good on the shorter term, but you do have, some more liquidity being built down here, right? We didn't exactly sweep this low, but we did kind of pixel touch it. It just depends where that liquidity was truly sitting. If everybody had their stops right here instead of right here, then that's valid. But yeah, overall, I like price action right now. This is the big level to watch. 59,500 and then 61,000. Let's see if this stuff gets flipped into support. If we can flip that stuff into support, let's see if we can flip the value area low back into support. I know we rejected this originally here. This is something we wanted to accept, right? We did not want to swing under it, so that wasn't the best sign in the world, but I'm not flipping bearish until we have more confirmation. I want to give this thing time to play out, and even if we do sweep down below $50,000, that's not necessarily the end of the world. That could just be a very quick maneuver that sends us straight back up to all-time highs. Bitcoin moves very fast. I think a lot of people underestimate the speed in which Bitcoin moves when it's truly bullish or bearish. So just keep that in mind. But let's talk about the altcoin market, because we've been talking about some important levels that we would want to hold in a bullish scenario. And this is another case that could be made to where the lows should be in. We should be heading up now. We shouldn't really go any lower unless maybe we are flipping more bearish. And this is another reason why I do think corrective wave is probably over. Probably going to send on up with haste after all of this. And that is that we got a structural good low here on the altcoin market into a good level. This is the point of control. This is where we said we wanted to hold if this value area high did not. And this is still a very bullish place to find support. This is not bad at all. A lot of times on a bullish correction, you'll find support on the point of control because there's just more volume here. Look at the volume profile. Look at the levels within here. You can see the point of control is absolutely where you have the most amount of support. Makes a lot of sense to come down here before heading on up, flipping this stuff, and getting into the full swing of things where altcoins start going parabolic. And we have another sign that is telling us altcoin season might be just around the corner, and that is that Bitcoin dominance is starting to head down with haste here after making a bit of the double top on the daily time frame. Bitcoin dominance is looking real bearish right now, which is real good for us. So I do expect, at this point, top's probably in for Bitcoin dominance. Of course, every time I say this, it keeps marching up on higher, so we'll have to give it some time. Only time will tell if that is truly the top, but I would not be surprised if it is. I would not be surprised if altcoin season is right around the corner. This may have well actually been the last flush before we see those big moves across the board in all of our assets. But if you do have any questions about anything I talked about or just want to join the community for this channel, Link to my Discord is in the description down below. Also below that link is a VIP Discord specifically for leveraged trading that I did mention at the beginning of this video, because it is 50% off right now just for the next 2 days. So if you want to get it for just 20 bucks a month, don't miss out on it. Click the link, decide for yourself if you think it's worth the money. Trying to actually provide a lot of value in my own time. And then also below that are a bunch of exchange partners, some of which have exclusive limited time deals also for anyone that signs up with my referral link, so don't miss out on that either. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.